All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. The title of this lesson is going to be called Faith, Obedience, and Humility. Okay, three scriptures that kind of came to my head as I was putting together another lesson last night. I just put this off to the side and figured I would do a lesson regarding these three attributes that a man of the Lord ought to have. So I'm going to go ahead and read this in Matthew chapter 7, and I'll read in verse 7. It says, "Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened." Now that's regarding taking action to seek out salvation. Now if you're seeking out salvation without faith, as it talks about in James, which I'll go ahead and pull real quick. All right, James chapter 1 verse 5, it says, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of the Most High, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed." And so if you are not asking in faith, then you do not have any foundation to ask those things of the Most High, and you basically being weak, okay, because you're not asking to and expecting to receive in faith. Okay, now like I said, when you ask of something, you have to have faith that you will receive it and be willing and ready to wait for it. Okay, but ultimately the Most High knows those things that are needful for us in these times and in the times to come. So that requires faith. Okay, so that's the first scripture. Okay, and also too, before I continue to the next one, I'll read verse 8 again. It says, "For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth." If you're not searching out for the truth and you're not seeking for the truth is not gonna, you're not gonna come across it and accept it. You know, because don't get me wrong, this truth is getting pushed out across the four corners of the earth. So in that aspect, yeah, I mean, everyone is getting exposed to it, but those who really take hold of it are the ones that are actually looking for it, you see? So it's important to remember that we need to seek out the truth, and we need to seek out getting a better relationship with Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. All right, and when you pray to him, it requires faith that he's actually listening to your prayer. So you have to have faith when you pray as well. So continuing on, Matthew chapter 9, and I'm gonna read verse 9. All right, and this is the one that's going into obedience. Okay, this is just an example here. It says, and as Yahushua passed forth from thence, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the receipt of custom, and he saith unto him, Follow me. And he arose and followed him. And so Matthew, this is the same Matthew that wrote the Gospel of Matthew, which I'm reading out of right now. And he was a tax collector. He was a publican, as they say. And so his job basically was really closely tied to Esau's government. Okay, because he basically that would be like a Jake working for the IRS. You know, in these days, collecting taxes and stuff. Well, that's what Matthew was doing. Okay, and so for Yahushua to call him out of that and him to just get up and leave the tables and actually go follow Yahushua, that required faith. Okay, but obedience too. Okay, obedience, because he actually took the action immediately. Okay, and so obedience requires faith. You know, you have to have that in order to really progress. You know, in this truth, when you find out about the truth, you become obedient to the will of the Most High. So let me see here. So I'm gonna go and find that example. Obedience is better than sacrifice. All right, this is 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 22. It says, "And Samuel said, Hath Yahweh as great delight in burnt offerings as sacrifices, and as in obeying the voice of Yahweh? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams." Okay, so yeah, we make our bodies a living sacrifice on the highways and byways, but that requires obedience first. Okay, because any nigga could, you know, jump in front of a, you know, a train and say, "Oh, I'm a sacrifice for the Lord." No, this what the Most High is doing is calling us to do the work, and we are being obedient unto His calling. Okay, and that's what the Most High has pleasure in. All right. So just want to get that point, and I'm gonna go back here. And this was, like I said, an example in Matthew chapter 9. You know, that's an example of how to be, okay, when the Lord speaks to you. And I'm gonna go ahead and read down. I'm gonna read down because this is another good point. In verse 10, Matthew 9 and 10, it says, "And it came to pass, as Yahushua sat at meat in the house, behold, many publicans and sinners came and sat down with him and his disciples." Like I said, a publican would be a tax collector in these days, and also a sinner. All manners of, you know, all manners of transgressions that the Pharisees, who were all about the law, they saw that. They saw that, you know, they didn't wash their hands before they ate. They saw that, you know, Yahushua, who was preaching the gospel in such authority and breaking down the scriptures and doing these miracles, they saw that he was eating with the unclean and the maimed and the halted. Okay, and the Pharisees saw that and they got jealous, and they, you know, were talking smack basically. It says, verse 11, "And when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto his disciples, Why eateth your master with publicans and sinners?" So they basically went to Yahushua's disciples and was asking them, "Hey, what's up with your leader, man? Why he doing this? Trying to plant that seed of doubt, okay, and that seed of disobedience into their minds, to get them to go off and get them to, oh man, maybe they are right. Maybe the Pharisees is right. Maybe the Lord, you know, he ain't all like, nah, man, that's just Satan, and that spirit dwells amongst our people even to this day, okay? Because Yahushua is the most just man that ever walked the planet Earth, but he got our own people trying to accuse him, okay? It says, "But when Yahushua heard that, he said unto them," by the way, he heard it, man. You know, Yahushua had spiritual power, man. He could read minds, all of that. Okay, we're gonna get that, Lord willing, we're those men too. But it says, "They that be whole need not a physician, but they that are sick." Whole meaning you're complete, you're healthy, and you don't have any infirmities. Those that are whole don't need a physician. Those that are sick need a physician. They need to be healed, and we need to be healed because we are sick spiritually. Well, we're physically sick, and you know, our flesh is combating against our spirit. So it's a constant spiritual battle between our flesh and our spirit, because the spirit is contrary to the flesh and vice versa. So we understand that. We are willing to admit that, and that takes humility. Okay, the Most High is dealing, and His Son are dealing with the lowly, the meek, the humble. Okay, it says, verse 13, "But go ye and learn what that meaneth. I will have mercy and not sacrifice, for I am not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance." And righteous meaning in this sense, overly righteous, self-righteous. You know, oh, you know, I'm holier than thou. I don't need a Messiah because I'm already righteous. I'm already right. Well, we know that we are in the flesh. As long as we're in the flesh, we're going to go off. And that's not what we want to do. We don't want to go off. We want to be perfect, and we want to be immortal. And the only way to achieve that is through the salvation that Yahushua provides to the elect. Okay? And that mindset requires a man to be humble, to admit that he don't got it. You know, you're not going to be able to just wing it, you know, into the kingdom, or just in the world and just win all the time. So that's going to segue into Matthew chapter 18. And I'm going to go ahead and start at verse 3. It says, I'll start at verse 1, actually. At the same time came the disciples unto Yahushua, saying, Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Yahushua called a little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them. Imagine that. You know, you're a disciple asking the Lord, you know, who's going to be the best? Who's going to be the, you know, they'd probably thinking amongst themselves, which one of us is he going to say? And out of all the men there, Yahushua called a child and said, come here. And he put him right there where all of the disciples were standing. Let's read what he says. Verse 3. And he said, Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Okay, that's what he was talking about to Nicodemus in John, the 3rd chapter, St. John chapter 3. Okay, you have to be baptized. You have to put away the old man. Put off all of the ways of the flesh. Okay, because if you'll notice, a child on average is going to have less demons than a man on average, right? Why? Because he hasn't been in the world as long to pollute his mind, because this world is polluted. So we have to separate ourselves from the world, be like little children again, when we were obedient, when we had faith. Children have faith. They have faith that their father or their mother is going to provide food for them. They don't worry all day, worrying, damn, is mom going to make enough money on her check to pay? Children carefree, because they have faith. Okay, in that sense. And so we ought to have that faith towards Yahushua, man, that he can provide for us. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, that the things that we need will be provided for us. Okay, we have to be willing and ready to be obedient unto his will. Okay, and we have to be humble enough to accept the things that he puts in front of us, knowing that we will be able to endure whatever he puts in front of us as a test. Okay, so continue on. It says, I'll read verse 3 again. And he said, Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. So that doesn't apply only when you're out on the highways and byways, or only when you think that you're being humble. It's every day, man. Every single day. Every single day. Your daily life. The things that brothers don't see because you're at work or you're at your house. That's how you show humility. And of course also amongst the body as well. Of course that. But just every day, man. Every day. Being humble at all times. So that's the point in that. I'm going to go ahead and close it out in 1 Peter. I'll get 1 Peter chapter 5. All right, 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 5. Likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. That requires humility. Okay? Yea, all of you be subject one to another, and be clothed with humility. A proud nigga does not want to follow anybody because he's too egotistical. He thinks that he has it. So how are you going to say that you are going to follow the Lord if you don't even want to follow the men that the Lord set up? The men that the Lord sent for you to get right and for you to stay growing in this thing. Your elders. You see, that mentality is backwards if a man has that mentality. And so it says, for the Most High resisteth the proud, which means he prevents or he blocks. When you try to put up that layup or that dunk, the Most High will block that. Okay, he's gonna block, your pride basically, and he's gonna block the things in your life, the blessings that are available to your life because of your pride. And it says, and giveth grace to the humble. He shows mercy to those that are meek and lowly. All right, they know how to take the low. They suffer themselves to be defrauded, even when they are innocent, man. And that's the example that we ought to maintain. All right, so verse 6, it says, humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of the Most High, that he may exalt you in due time. So you're going to get to that level that you want to be at, but you got to stay humble first. You don't go into an employer's facility and just become the GM in 2 weeks. You have to take the humble role first. You start off as a low level, level 1 employee with no respect, no accolades, and you work your way up from there, man. Okay, if everyone who just come in and just be on the top, that's no order. This truth is order. The Most High has order. Okay, so I'm gonna finish it off in verse 7. Casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. All right, the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, cares for us. So he's gonna take care of the things that we know that he knows that we need. Okay, he knows what we need more than anybody else. So with that, we have to submit ourselves. Okay. Abaratazah, this is an edifying lesson. With that, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.